Hello guys, I will present the adjectives. My name is Ariana Virginia Quinteros and come on. The function of adjectives is a part of speech which describes, identifies or quantifies a noun by and large. The main function of adjectives is to modify a noun or pronoun so that it will become more specific and interesting. In other words, adjectives give more information about a noun or pronoun, such as its color, size, shape, opinion, quantity, or origin, so the listener or reader can form a clearer picture. For example, a tall man, their old books, or a delicious cake. The adjectives can also act as a complement with the linking verb, or the verb to be. A linking verb is a verb like to feel, to seem, or taste that describes a state of pain or a sensory experience. When it is used this way, it is called a predicate adjectives. A predicate adjective follows the verb and describes the subject. It does not appear before a noun, but after the verb that links it to the subject. For example, she is kind. She tastes salty. The sense tired. In these examples, the adjective complements the sentence by telling more about the subject. The structure of adjectives are invariably words. This means that they never change and do not change if the noun modified change in a gender or number. In English, unlike in some other language, like Spanish or French, adjectives do not change for base or whether the noun is singular or plural, masculine or feminine. For example, a tall boy, tall boys. The adjective tall stays the same. The adjectives always go before the noun. They modify a thought. They are invariable. They follow a specific order: quantity, quality, opinion, size, age, shape, color, origin, material, and purpose. When you use more than one adjective before a noun, native speakers usually follow this order naturally. Using them in the wrong order might sound strange or unnatural. It is important to remember that some words may act as adjectives even if they're not, such as past participles, herons, and nouns. These words modify nouns just like adjectives do, even though grammatically they belong to other categories. Past participle, a broken window. Broken is a past participle, acting as an adjective. Herons, as a swimming pool. Swimming is a heron modifying pool. For example, they live in a big old white house. She bought a beautiful red Italian dress. He drives a fast new Japanese car. We saw an exciting American action movie. She wears black leather French shoes. The other function of the adjective is the comparatives. One way to describe nouns, people, objects, animals, etc., is by comparing them to something else. This helps you show difference or similarities or qualities, such as size, speed, age, or intelligence. Notice that only two nouns are involved when we use comparatives, although they may be plural. They refer to only two items. Comparatives are used to compare a thing with another, and they answer questions like which one is bigger or who is faster. The structure of comparatives um, one first one syllable adjectives for adjectives with one syllable. Add er to the end and then use than. If the adjectives and the consonant vowel consonant double the last consonant. For example, tall, taller than. My brother is taller than me. Big, bigger than. My dog is bigger than that cat. Sad, sadder than. He looks sadder than yesterday. The second function is two syllable adjectives not ending in I, y, y, and our longer adjectives use more or less plus adjective and then use than. These adjectives are too long to add so we use a helper word. For example, more careful than, less expensive than, more interesting than, more intelligent than. The third function is two syllable adjectives ending in y, change the y to I and and then use than. For example, happy, happier than. She is happier than ever. Funny, funnier than. This cartoon is funnier than the last one. Silly, sillier than. You are sillier than a clown. Bossy, busier than. Today is busier than yesterday. The other function in the adjectives is as superlatives. The superlatives are also used to compare nouns, but instead of comparing two items. Like comparatives, we highlight one item as most or less or a group. In other words, one noun is compared to all the others in the group, and it stands out as the highest or lowest in a particular quality. The structure of comparatives the first syllable adjectives for adjectives that have only one syllable use the and at est. At the end, if the adjective follows the consonant vowel consonant pattern, double the final consonant before adding est. Example: old, the oldest. She is the oldest student in the group. Wet, the west. Today is the wasted day of the week. Big, the biggest. This is the biggest pizza I've ever seen. Sad, the saddest. It, it was the saddest movie ever. The second function is two syllable adjectives not ending in y and longer adjectives. For adjectives that have two syllables and do not end in y, or for adjectives with three or more syllables, use the most or the least plus adjective. For example, the most expensive. This is the most expensive jean in the store. The least important. That's the least important question. The most beautiful. Sabrina Carpenter is the most beautiful singer. The most comfortable. It's the most comfortable chair here. The third function is two syllable adjectives ending in y. Change the final y to I and s and use the before the adjective. Example: happy, the happiest. It was the happiest day of my life. Funny, the funniest. He is the funniest clown in the circus. Silly, the silliest. That's the silliest joke I've heard. The comparative and superlatives have their regular adjectives. For example, the adjective good is better in comparative and best in superlative. The adjective bad is worse in comparative and worst in superlative. The, the adjective fair is fatter or fooder in comparative and fattest or footest in superlative. The adjective little is less in comparative and least in superlative. The adjective much or many is more in comparative and most in superlative. Um, Thanks for your attention. Bye bye.